Social Security. You pay into it, but the defenders found some Texans who say good luck getting it.
Oh, yeah, especially when you need it most. Investigative reporter Jeremy Rogowski is here with what he's uncovered. Jeremy?
Lisa and Greg think it can't happen to you? Well, 200,000 Texans say it did to them last year. A sudden accident or illness left them permanently disabled and unable to work. There's supposed to be a safety net in place to help them out, but instead, many fell into social insecurity.
I'll be glad to help you.
What if today was your last day at work? Not because you're retiring or struck it rich, but rather because of a tragedy. And now you'll see getting help may be impossible, even from this judge.
How you doing? Jeremy Rogowski with Channel 11 News. I was wondering why you approved so few people for disability, sir.
Sir, I'm not discussing anything with you.
But first we start
A freak accident.
Just freak accident.
with a simple rocking chair. That's all it took to change pre-K teacher Brenda Green's life. She had a child on her lap reading a book to the class when
When we pushed back, the chair came completely apart. I flew backwards,
onto the floor head first
so it caused my head to do this when I hit the concrete.
and into what would become a difficult life.
I said, I have no feeling in my arms, none at all.
And she says her doctors told her she was permanently injured, and despite attempts like back surgery, she could never work again.
So I put in for disability.
And that is where Green and many others say their nightmare really began. Social Security disability. We all get these notices in the mail saying if you're disabled right now, you're entitled to a monthly check. Sounds simple, right? We've all paid into it. Well, the defenders have discovered this last resort for the injured may be riddled with unbearable delays and plain injustice that turned the needy
I would rather be working than dying.
Into the desperate. Take bookkeeper Mary Jo Jones. She says she worked until she just couldn't. Why? Because she says her doctors told her.
I have been liver failure.
So Jones applied for disability too, but 3, 4, 5 months went by with no reply. As she says she ran out of money for medicine and food.
I just want to pay my bills.
And finally, 7 months later, she got an answer back. The reply?
I was denied.
So Jones appealed, and another 7 months went by for the ailing, unemployed ex-bookkeeper to learn she was denied again.
I'm backed into a corner.
Time is against him. Time is the enemy.
Attorney Victor McCree specializes in these cases and says
Their bills are stacking up.
what
and so
happened
it
to
goes by the
Jones
court. Some of them are getting evicted.
is all too typical.
Some of them die while they're waiting.
that bad.
Yes.
But Mary Jo Jones decided not to wait anymore and took her case to the next level. The court of an administrative law judge.
If you could work, would you work?
All of us.
The same judge who heard this group's cases.
The whole lumbar section of my back is pretty much shot.
They also say sudden injuries left them disabled, and they also had to wait nearly 2 years for their day in court. When they finally got it, all had their benefits denied.
The man didn't listen to the evidence.
I thought the man was unfair.
I wouldn't wish this on my own worst enemy.
Some of them went so far as to protest in front of the judge's house.
Hi, Judge Abrams.
Administrative law judge Richard Abrams, who, it turns out, has a history of approving hardly anyone.
How many of you have had cases before Judge Abrams?
Just ask this group of veteran attorneys.
He's looking for ways to deny.
These clients are not getting a fair day in court.
This is the only judge who seems to presume that everybody is not eligible.
Statistics tell the story. At the Social Security office in Southwest Houston, judges have approved cases a little more than half the time, 58% over the past 3 years. That's on par with all Social Security judges across the nation, according to the agency's latest figures. But Richard Abrams' approval rate? Barely 1 in every 10 cases, just 8%.
How can you explain that?
Sir, there's nothing to discuss with you.
Well, other judges approve 50 to 60%
There's
of their
nothing to
cases.
discuss.
You approve 8%?
It's the most helpless feeling that a person could have when I need my money that I paid in, and they're telling me no, no, no.
In Brenda Green's case, there's insult to her injury. Judge Abrams required a second opinion of her diagnosis.
I mean, he demanded that I go to this doctor.
A Social Security doctor who did not believe she could perform a full day's activity. But instead of accepting that, Abrams ruled the doctor's opinion is not credible.
But this was the same doctor the judge ordered you to go to.
Exactly.
And the judge's ruling on Green's claim?
Denied.
And you're thinking what?
How can this be?
The longtime educator couldn't believe it.
Unless you're half dead and 1 foot in the grave, you don't need it.
They're beyond destitute. That's the tragedy.
And these attorneys question, will it ever change?
There has to be some limit to what the judges can get away with.
They filed several complaints to judges at the regional and national level.
We're entitled to a response.
You haven't gotten that?
No, none of us have heard a word, and that I think is the saddest part about it.
And Richard Abrams continues to sit on the bench.
I think I finished telling you there's nothing to discuss with you.
Why want you to explain your record?
I don't have to explain it to you.
But late today, Judge Abrams sent us his own personal statement about these issues, and he points out, I carefully listened to every statement by the claimant and his witnesses. If he is represented by an attorney, I carefully consider all arguments in favor of disability by counsel. I also hear testimony from physicians and vocational experts to determine whether the claimant can engage in substantial competitive employment. Even though a person cannot perform his past work, he may still not be disabled because he can engage in some other work. Judge Abrams also said everyone in his court receives fair consideration of their claim, and he carefully follows U.S. law in making all of his rulings. The judge's entire statement is available online at khou.com. I'm Jeremy Rogalski, 11 News Defenders.